biggest underdog of each Super Bowl season, 2021 to 2025? Everybody loves a champion. And in the NFL, nothing commands more respect than claiming the Vince Lombardi trophy by the end of the season. But you know what's just as coveted as a Super Bowl? Upsetting championship favorites and shocking the league. If you want your team to make it to the Super Bowl despite being underdogs, make sure you hit that subscribe button or they won't even make it to the playoffs. Every dark horse was once an underdog, and here are the biggest underdogs in the last 5. 2021. While most teams had their hopes up for a shot at the Super Bowl, nobody wanted to speed-run the season more than the Cincinnati Bengals. Despite how great of a player Burrow is, no one expected him to be as good, especially after an ACL and MCL injury. This was a team that couldn't even scrape up to 5 wins the previous season, and they had no Pro Bowlers. When it comes to underdogs, it doesn't get more obvious than this. But the Bengals showed that even underdogs have that dog in them. Burrow threw for over 4,500 yards and recorded 34 touchdowns. Chase was having the time of his life with over 1,400 receiving yards. And Trey Hendrickson made the Bengals look solid defensively as well. Their 10-7 finish meant they finished top of their division and gave the people of Cincinnati a season to remember. With their demolition of the Baltimore Ravens and their dominance over the Chiefs, the Bengals weren't just playoff-bound, they were Super Bowl-bound, beating the Raiders, Titans, and Chiefs again. Unfortunately, they couldn't go all the way for the Lombardi trophy, as the Rams just managed to get the better of them. But in 2021, the Bengals proved that expectations mean nothing. 2022. No team had it worse than the Seattle Seahawks in the 2022 offseason. They saw their star quarterback, Russell Wilson, leave for the Broncos. Nobody expected Geno Smith and a bunch of rookies to do much in the NFC, but Smith was out to prove a point. And although the furthest they could go was a wild card spot in the playoffs, they definitely left people shook with how good they played. But they weren't the only underdogs in the NFC that year. Over in the NFC East, the New York Giants were not living up to their name as Giants. They hadn't made the playoffs in 5 years. The old GM had retired, and Joe Judge was relieved of head coach duties. That season, they didn't just make it to the playoffs. They left everyone startled when they beat the Vikings in the wild card round. This marked their first playoff win in a decade, but their playoff run came to a halt when they faced the Eagles, a team that would have taken a lot more than beating an overperforming underdog to beat. But these underdog tales were nothing compared to the ones in 2023. 2023. Inexperience is the best way to end up at the bottom of a division, but the Texans proved this to be a myth. Having a rookie quarterback is risky enough, but a coach who's never coached in the NFL before, if the Super Bowl was going anywhere, it definitely wasn't ending up in Houston. But by the end of the regular season with a 10-7 record, it looked very possible, especially after they torched the Browns 45-14. Some underdogs don't bark as loud as they bite, they roar. The Detroit Lions may have been the youngest team in the entire NFL, but like random stats, age is just a number. They beat the Rams, trashed the Bucks, and in the NFC Championship, the 49ers edged past by just a whisker to make it to the Super Bowl. If you think 2023 was the year of the underdog, let me refresh your memory about 2024. 2024 was pure madness. Teams that used to be underdogs were now top dogs, and there were lower expectations for formerly notable teams. The Commanders shocked the football world behind rookie QB Jaden Daniels. If there's any team that should know better than to rule underdogs out, it's the Detroit Lions. Even though they were top seeds heading into the wild card round, the Commanders stunned them in a 45-31 victory. Over in Atlanta, another rookie rose. Michael Penix Jr. replaced an injured Kirk Cousins and dominated his debut. While the Bucs looked like a fraction of their former selves ever since Brady retired, they still beat the Eagles in the wild card round. 2025. When the stage was set for the postseason, there were a few teams no one expected to make it this far. The Washington Commanders were one of them. Their 12-5 record alone was incredible, but reaching the NFC Championship with a rookie quarterback? This wasn't even an underdog run at this point. It was a fairy tale. And when they lost, it was to the Eagles, the eventual winners of the Super Bowl. And what's crazy is that they went into Super Bowl 59 as underdogs. Yes, they were a solid team, and this was their second Super Bowl in 3 years. But the Chiefs were looking to make history with a three-peat, and everyone tipped them as favorites. But when the game started, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles were locked in, and the rest was history. If history has taught us anything, it is that ruling out teams because of talent and track records is a big mistake in the NFL. One thing the stats don't tell you is how hungry teams are to win. And going by that, there are bound to be even more incredible underdog stories ahead of us. But which of the biggest underdogs in this video shocked you the most? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.